thank you, and thank you all for still being awake at 4:20 on a Wednesday afternoon. So look, it's great to be here. I'm Lindsay. As they just said, I am the head of data-driven marketing and media for Mars Pet Nutrition. And what that means is I lead a team of about 40 fabulous media, content, search, CRM, and CX experts. And together we have the privilege of leading the digital transformation of Mars's marketing machine. But before I tell you a little bit about that journey and all the successes and horrors we've had, I have a really critical question to ask you all, which is, are you team cat or are you team dog? So raise your hands, are you team dog? Desperate, you idiots. Right, well, I'm team cat. Team cat? Excellent. This is much better news. So firmly in the team cat camp. This is Magic, first ever cat. He used to terrorize my neighbors, family members growing up. He got hit by cars, run over, fell off buildings, and without a shadow of a doubt, we had him rebuilt every time. And it is that crazy, irrational love we have for our pets that immediately drew me to Mars and its powerful purpose of creating a better world for pets. So 2 years ago, I joined Mars, and I got given a brilliant brief. It was transform Mars into a data-driven marketing organization. I had 8 months, yes, terrifying, to build a team from scratch, and we had to be ready to plan, create, and deploy all media and content for the region. And for many of the brands you should know, like Whiskers, Sheba, Pedigree, and James Wellbeloved. So the way we approached the transformation is we broke it into 4 simple buckets: people, partners, processes, and platforms. Maybe not sexy, but at the end of the day, I'm going to share a little bit about the successes we had in the first 2 from a people and partner perspective. But let me first just start with our simple ambition, which was pretty clear, which was to dramatically improve the relevance and effectiveness of our communication. And it was such a cool time. 2 years ago, I know the theme of the event is about riders of the storm. It was literally raining cats and dogs. You can see there were over 84 million pets in just 4 of our Europe markets. I love the next stat. There are more households in Europe that have pets than babies, okay? So 50 million searches done a month on pet-related topics. So you can see a big part of what me and the team had to prove to Mars was there were millions of data signals out there available to us, but rather than focus on data, our job was to convince the business that behind every single signal was a pet parent with a real need. So one of the first things we did, create the world's ugliest slide, yes, but actually what we did was we mapped the search and social signals along both the cat and dog journey. So this is what you're looking at here. So when brand teams would often say, oh, so our pet parents, they really care about holistic health, we'd be like, well, do you know what? No, they're not. They're not searching for that. They're not talking about it. And what we were able to do was map the volume and velocity of topics along that pet parent journey to set the foundation of the behavioral data that would then inform our strategies going forward. So let me start with the first P of my 4 Ps, the people side. Okay, definitely the most important. But what you can see here are 2 teams. My lovely team on the right, Centre of Excellence in green, brand teams on right. Our first job as a new marketing organization in Mars was to not be hated by the brand teams. So one of the things we had to do was very quickly engender trust. And the way we did that was through an analogy I like to use about the rally car. We said to them, guys, you are the rally car driver. You are in the driving seat, you own your brands, and you're the ones that get to sail through the finishing line. All right, you're in charge. Sitting right next to you are the rally car navigators. We're going to tell you how to get to the finishing line in the most efficient and effective way possible. And it was through that powerful partnership we built with our brand teams that has enabled the huge success we've had in transforming the way we do marketing, as well as the sheer effectiveness of our marketing efforts. But just while I'm on the people front, I want to share, I think, just 3 lessons we've learned, just trying to be really transparent and open with you. The first was, every single person that joined my team in those opening months, they got the same brief, which was be a delight to work with. We are a net new team, and we need the business to want to work with us. So we bring energy, we bring positivity, and we are a delight. We need them to pick the phone up again and say, we want to work with you. The second was just keep it simple. All right, data-driven marketing, all of us in marketing, we have a tendency to use really fluffy language, personalization at scale. And we were like, no, we've got 5 pillars. We've got media, content, CRM, search, and data. We created 5 simple pillars the business could remember, the business could understand, and we could track our performance against. We kept it simple, and it worked. And the final one, before I jumped on, was actually just saying sorry. When you move and you're building something from scratch and you're driving a transformation, you get so much wrong. And one of the things that I think our team did brilliantly is when we got things wrong, the first thing we did is we just said sorry. And we were humble, and we owned up to it and said, we're going to create a plan and we're going to resolve it. But I was sometimes shocked at how few times we hear I'm sorry in a work environment. And I think it's a travesty, because as a team that's driving a transformation, it's proof we're pushing boundaries. It's proof we're pushing hard and dragging the business into new places. And sometimes we're going to get that wrong, and we do need to apologize. So those were the 3 kind of key cultural lessons we learned. But let me touch on the partners. Because yes, we built a completely new internal team from scratch, but we had to completely rebuild our partner ecosystem. And it was genuinely down to, we had 2 big sort of agency partner groups in WPP and Omnicom. And they were absolutely brilliant because they bought into a concept of open intelligence. We said to them, we're going to bring in startups and new ad tech, and we're going to blow this up, and we're going to blow it up together, but you're going to be our partners in it. And they absolutely embraced it. So one of the first things we did was we said, I don't know if any of you were in the talk before about that said the stock library industry has tanked by 70%. It's down to partners like Creatively Squared. These guys were amazing. We brought them in. They're a community of creators. Instantly, we put the products, we put our pet food brands in the hands of creators all around the world. They shot our products with their beautiful pets in authentic and gorgeous styles. And not only did these prove to be some of our most effective ads, but we're driving this 70% cheaper than stock photography. So this was another big part of building a plug-and-play new model for a partner ecosystem at Mars. Oh, glitchy. I'm going to press again. Brilliant. The next partner we brought in was Automated Creative, which is like DCO on steroids. These guys were absolutely brilliant. They brought in not only the technology that allowed us to produce digital assets at scale, but they also helped us convince the business about thinking about our creative in a completely different way. Because before we brought them on board, honest to God, we could always answer if our ad worked. Yeah, easy. But we could never answer why our ad worked. So what we did is we completely rebuilt the methodology around how we created assets, and therefore not only driving much bigger performance gains in terms of the assets we produced, but also the insights we got back out of it. So I love this example. So this is for James Wellbeloved, and it just gives you an idea of the agile sprints we operate in now. So we're testing constantly. We're testing value proposition, we're testing imagery, we're testing tone of voice, we're testing format. And the lovely thing about this is, remember the old days if you'd get a designer and you'd produce a digital ad and everyone would cheer and pat on the back and it was great. Now, our legal teams get given a copy matrix. They're looking at thousands of variants and the machine's putting those together and different combinations based on what our consumers click. And so what this enables us to do is go back to the teams, our brand teams and the business, and go, here's the DNA of the best performing ad. I can tell you what breed of dog works best when we're trying to drive, purchase of one of our D2C products. I can tell you the type of customer testimonials, and we're constantly looking and optimizing in this space.
I think I work harder than anyone else I know.
I think that's a very big call to make.
Anyone I know, I said.
I feel like that's the conversation I have with my husband every day. But the reality is, another thing we knew we had to do is we had to step into TikTok. And not like other numpty brands that start posting ads on there and then realize too late that's not what TikTok's about. But we started to partner with Passion Fruit, which is a brilliant community of marketing and specialist or native TikTok content creators. And through them and through that authenticity, we were able to put multiple brands on TikTok and start to iterate and learn in a way we never could if we had followed the old big ad agency model. So they're just a few of the partners we've plugged into our ecosystem. And the last thing I want to share is this is one of our fabulous brands, Whiskers. Through combining the people I've talked about, that new ecosystem of partners we've built that puts a hell of a lot of creative tension on the table, and everyone knows they've got to turn up and give their absolute best because we're constantly driving innovation and change, we've absolutely blown Whiskers out of the water this year. We've driven a huge incremental net sales value off the back of a fully addressable campaign. We've produced over 350 fully addressable assets across the entire ecosystem, ranging from Meta to Google to Amazon. And we're driving a very first sort of digital sampling campaign, which has also been hugely powerful and effective at generating first-party data. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight. I know I didn't cover all 4 Ps, but into 2 of the Ps of our digital transformation at Mars Pet Nutrition. And obviously, if you want to get in touch, we are always looking for fabulous digital marketers to come and join our team and keep blowing stuff up with us. And we're always on the lookout for partners to inject new inspiration and innovation into our model. So the last thing I want to leave you with, really, is my favorite cartoon, and it should give you all of the evidence you need as to why the only team is Team Cat. Thank you very much. And so I do always like to sort of end early. I hate people that talk too long. So I think we probably do have time for a few questions, even though I know this crowd isn't a big question crowd. But if anyone does want to comment or question, we've got a few minutes. Now it's probably the end of the afternoon. Everyone just wants to go home. Question?
Sure. Rafi from Passion Fruit. Hey, Lindsay. Delighted to be working with you guys. But what I wanted to ask is, you came in with that mandate in the first 8 months.
Yeah.
What do the next 8 months fit for you? How do you push this on to the next level?
I think we will scale what we're doing. I think we have had huge success across 4 markets. And I think and there are some wonderful members of my team sitting in here today. And I think we have received global recognition within Mars for how we've approached this and the success we've had. And so I think our model and our transformation is going to be scaled across multiple countries and geographies. But you know what? I'm never happy. Success makes me more terrified. And so we are driving and pushing even harder into what are the right first and second party data partnerships that are going to supercharge how we find, attract and convert pet parents in the next 6 to 12 months. We're looking at the evolution and automation of, say, things like PMAX and looking how that's going to dramatically change the search environment for us. So I don't know, I drink a lot of coffee. I'm an edgy kind of person, so I remain incredibly focused on raising the bar even higher.
I'm Vivi from Amazing If. My question is, the 4 Ps that you mentioned, are they in order of priority? Which out of the 4 Ps would you say is the most disruptive?
Great question. Absolutely, they're in order of priority. So people, number 1, hiring the right capability and mindset. I hate talkers, I like doers. And actually, if you look into my team, they are roll up your sleeve, muck in, get it wrong, get it right, and keep pushing hard. So people is absolutely the number 1 priority, and we are unforgiving in terms of talent and set a pretty high caliber of who we bring into the business. Of the 4, I would say the hardest was the unsexiest, which was process. Everyone sort of like rolls their eyes and is like, oh. We had to teach the business how to do things differently. And that is by far the hardest thing for people to relearn. And so we had to do training, and we optimized, and we had to put decom and digital at the heart of brand planning process. Every agency, every legal team, that nearly broke us, I'll lie. That was absolutely, and Rachel Austin sitting in the front row here, and I think we've all aged 20 years in the last 2. But that would be my reflection. People the most important, process the hardest. And platform is the thing that I think the DT and DNA and tech teams, they like to solve for everything with shiny new tech. Ooh, we're going to get a CDP. You need like a CRM. And you go, brilliant. But what people fail to understand is who will operate that tech? What is the process in which we will govern that new tech? And how does that then get ingested into the rest of our machine? So,
Lindsay, amazing talk. Thank you so much.
my pleasure. Thank you.